Hello everyone, Matt Fresh here with another brutally honest review. This time, I'm reviewing the highly anticipated Silent Hill 2. That's right, finally, after 25 years of this franchise being on ice. Well, not really a franchise. It was one great game. It's been a cult classic. Silent Hill came out in 1999. People have been clamoring for a sequel ever since. It never happened, but finally, 25 years later, Konami is giving us a sequel. Silent Hill fans finally have Silent Hill 2. But is it any good? Well, that's what I'm here to tell you. Now, as always, I haven't actually played the game yet, but since this is the internet, I've already formulated a comprehensive opinion on whether it's good or not. These are my 100% honest thoughts on the game. No sugarcoating anything. Right off the bat, I'm going to tell you my score, which is an 8 out of 10. So when this is released, if anyone reviews it less than that, they're wrong and you should be mad at them. And if it's reviewed more than that, they're wrong and you should be mad at them. You're gamers, being mad at people is what you do best. So less than an 8, be mad. More than an 8, be mad. Even an 8.1, be mad. Even a 7.9, be mad. Go after them. Anyway, you're probably wondering why. After 25 long years, why is it only an 8? Well, make sure to like and subscribe, and let's get into it. So I'm going to do my best to talk about this game without any major spoilers. I know the last thing I would want as a fan of something is to wait 25 years for a sequel and then have it be spoiled. So I'm going to avoid those. But what I will say is that this game is not a direct continuation of the original. And that's probably for the best because, I mean, you wait 25 years for a sequel. If it's a direct continuation, you're going to lose some people, right? That's 25 years. People have been born. There are adults, grown adults, who were born after this game was released. So they're probably like, Silent Hill 2, what the hell's the first one? And, they'd come into this, and if it was a direct sequel, they'd be very confused. So, it's an understandable decision that they would have this game not be a direct sequel to a game that came out 25 years ago. So instead we have a new protagonist, Donald Sutherland, who is drawn to Silent Hill from, I believe, his dead talent agent. Talent agent recently died and sent him a letter to come to Silent Hill. That's what I gathered based on the trailers and stuff that I've seen. Now, here's the thing. I mean, look, Donald Sutherland is an icon of film, an icon of horror, So I guess if you're gonna make your protagonist a famous person, there's worse people you could choose than Donald Sutherland. But this man, their model, doesn't look anything like Donald Sutherland. It doesn't look like old Donald Sutherland, doesn't look like young Donald Sutherland, right? And I realize Donald Sutherland is dead. And, I don't know when they started working on this. Maybe he died before they started working on it. Maybe he didn't. But, there's tons of, material out there to see what Donald Sutherland looks like. So the fact that they would make Donald Sutherland the protagonist and not do any work to make him look like it is a little weird. And he doesn't even sound like him at all. Now, the guy who voices Donald in the game, he's a good voice actor. He does well. But, again, he's not even trying to sound like Donald Sutherland. It's just a strange situation. You could have made your protagonist anybody. You could have made him just a guy. But you made him Donald Sutherland, doesn't look anything like Donald Sutherland, doesn't sound anything like Donald Sutherland. I mean, the least they could have done is cast Kiefer Sutherland to voice Donald Sutherland, right? He's got a similar voice, and he's done video games before. He would do it. He's a nice man. I've met him before, right? So he'd probably do it. It's a funny story, actually. I was in a Baskin Robbins, getting a Rocky Road. Best ice cream flavor, by the way. So I'm sitting there in line. Well, not sitting, I was standing, but it's a figure of speech. You know what I'm saying. So I'm standing in line, and the guy in front of me, I'm looking at him. I'm like, who's this guy? What's going on? And he's one of these guys. He's like meticulously looking at all the flavors, meticulously asking, give me a sample of that one. Give me a sample of that one. He can't make up his mind. I hate these people, But I'm looking at him. I'm giving the side eye. Like, who does this guy think he is? Some big hot shot holding us all up? Anyway, so like 10 minutes go by. He finally gets his order and leaves. And I see something fall out of his pocket. Now, normally I would have, said, "Hey, sir, you dropped something." But, this guy delayed my rocky road. So I picked it up, and kept it for myself. I was like, "This is mine now." And I looked at it afterwards outside, and it was an invitation to, Pompeii, the movie starring Kiefer Sutherland. So, I fly out to go to this premiere that I've now been invited to officially. And, I think to myself, if I'm going to go to this premiere, at premieres, the movie stars, they go through the crowd, they sign everything. I'm thinking, I'm going to get a signature, but everybody's going to be giving him like Jack Bauer merchandise or Big Boss merchandise. I got to give him something to show that I'm a real fan. So I bring my VHS copy of A Time to Kill. And I know he's going to see that and be like, "You're a real one. You're a real one." Anyway, so I'm there in the crowd, and everybody's just like I thought. Everybody's got their Jack Bauers and their Big Bosses. Couple of Lost Boys in there. One guy even had a Three Musketeers. He thought he was cute, But I know he's going to get to me with my VHS copy of A Time to Kill, and he's going to be impressed, right? So the time finally arrives. He's signing the Big Boss picture of the guy standing next to me. And then I hold out my Time to Kill VHS, and he signs it really quickly and moves on, because he's got a lot of people to get through. But in that 2 seconds, he looked at me and I saw the glint in his eye. And that was a glint of respect, a glint that said, "I see you. I know what you're putting down. I get you." Yeah. So my point is, he's a nice guy, and he probably would have been happy to voice his father in a video game, but I don't even think they asked. But that's all I'm going to say about the story. So it is very jarring. You'll be like, well, a lot of the time you'll be like, "This guy doesn't look anything like Donald Sutherland. Doesn't sound like Donald Sutherland." But if you just look past that, it's interesting. It's an interesting foray into Silent Hill. It's a nice reintroduction after 25 years, Nice reintroduction to the lore. It settles you in, This could be, maybe they'll continue the franchise after this, Who knows? But gameplay is where it's really at. And so the interesting thing here is that it does retain the style of the first game. You're exploring Silent Hill. It's scary, it's spooky, it's full of fog, tight corridors in the buildings, spooky monsters, right? But what they did, they modernized it. It plays a lot like the new Resident Evil games, over the shoulder. It's all very smooth. You got a flashlight. But here's a fun twist. They actually, a lot of the time, what happens is it will shift perspective to look like a PS, not PS1 game, but like a PS2 game. So like 1 minute you'll be looking at it. I looked at a bunch of gameplay and trailers for this, and some of the trailers and gameplay I've seen, very modern looking, very, smooth, very Resident Evil style, Alan Wake style, but then a lot of the stuff I saw, it switches to like a PS2 survival horror type experience with like cumbersome set camera angles and quirky controls and clunky combat. Sometimes you can't really see where you're aiming, that kind of thing. Blocky, pixelated low-res PS2 style graphics. And obviously these are really jarring shifts, but I'm assuming it really is for the effect of, selling the psychological torture that Donald Sutherland is going through in the town, 1 minute he's in a normal, reality, and in that reality, everything looks fine and dandy, it's modern, it looks great on your PS5, and then the next minute, ooh, you're in a PS2 game, ooh, you can't control the camera, ooh, it's hard to aim, ooh, then it switches back, So you are also going through a tumultuous mental experience, just like Donald Sutherland. He's going through it in his mind, and you're going through it as a player. It's very meta, and I did appreciate that. It brings you into the horrifying experience that Mr. Donald Sutherland is going through. However, I don't think it always works, because the effect is very good, because the effect is you're playing this modern game and all of a sudden, whoa, whoa, it's old and ugly and cumbersome, and I what's going on? And it's very frightening. But then you have to play that, and it's not that great. You know, you're like, I just want to get back to the modern segments. I just want to get back to when it's smooth and plays well, you know, and when it looks nice. You know, I didn't spend, you know, $500 on this PS5, $700 on this PS5 Pro to play a PS2 game. You know what I mean? But I also respect the decision to go for that, because a lot of people won't like that, and it doesn't always work, and playing those sections, not going to be pleasant, but I respect the decision, you know? It's wild. It's a wild time, okay? So if you're a Silent Hill fan and you've been waiting 25 years for this, I think you're going to be happy. It's spooky. It plays well. You'll get that nostalgic rush when it switches to those horrifying PS2 segments. If you're not a fan, you don't have to worry. If you haven't played the original, you won't have to worry, oh, it's been 25 years. I've never played Silent Hill. I know it's like a cult classic or whatever, and people have been asking for a sequel, you know, for how long, but I've never played it. Should I play this? Will I be confused? You're not going to be confused. Completely different story. It eases you into the lore of the town. Most confusing aspect really is the Donald Sutherland bit, but I guess, you know, maybe they weren't sure that this would sell after 25 years. It is a tough sell to make a sequel to a game that came out 25 years ago that is kind of niche. You know, it's a cult classic, but, you know, not hugely popular. So maybe they thought, well, you know, if we're doing 25 years later, we need a big selling point. So we'll make our main character Donald Sutherland. And then maybe at some point they couldn't get the rights. I don't know what happened. It is quite jarring. But overall, I'm excited to play this. It looks fun. It looks interesting. I do appreciate the ballsiness to make a sequel 25 years later with a main character of a famous celebrity, who's now sadly passed on, you know, an icon of the screen. And I do appreciate the ballsiness to make a modern video game that sometimes forces you to grapple with the realities of a retro game, of a PS2 game. They're like, hey, you like your new shiny survival horror game? Well, check this out. Whoop, now you're playing a PS2 survival horror game. Ooh, what's that like? You're not gonna like it. Now you're undergoing, is that the right word? Undergoing? Whatever. Now you're going through, you know, psychological hardships, just like Donald Sutherland. So I recommend it. 8 out of 10. I'm looking forward to playing it. I haven't pre-ordered it, but, you know, I'm probably going to pick it up day 1, maybe day 2. And yeah, so, I hope you enjoyed, and, I'll see you next time for whatever game I end up reviewing next. I haven't decided yet, but who knows? Actually, funny segue, since I am reviewing Silent Hill here. I'm going on a trip to Cleveland soon. So that's a fun parallel because, you know, I've been looking at these clips and, you know, this dreary town full of fog, decrepit rundown buildings, you know, and I got to go to Cleveland for work. And, you know, I'm looking up, you know, places to stay, and I'm looking at pictures of Cleveland, and I'm like, wow, this is just like Silent Hill 2, you know, that I just, you know, have been watching trailers and gameplay videos, you know, in preparation for my review. And I'm like, wow. What are the odds that I'm basically going to Silent Hill after this experience? So that's fun. I thought that'd be a fun story you guys would enjoy. Anyway, thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.